Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NBA matches that is happening on Friday, November 3rd, 2023. We will be providing our team, total, and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Indiana Pacers. Injuries have taken a toll on both the Cavaliers and the Pacers during the initial week of the season. Cleveland has been missing key players, Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland, while the Pacers have been without Tyrese Halliburton. All three of these players are currently questionable for Friday's game. Although the Pacers managed to defeat the Cavaliers in their earlier matchup this season, I believe Cleveland might secure a victory on Friday. The Pacers struggled significantly in their recent game against the Celtics, experiencing difficulties with their three-point shooting and displaying subpar defensive performance. The Cavaliers favor a defensive, physical style of play, which I believe will work to their advantage against the Pacers. Additionally, having Donovan Mitchell, the best player on the court, should further bolster the Cavaliers' chances. My recommendation is to bet on the Cavaliers covering the spread. Really poor shooting from the Pacers helped them narrowly reach the 100-point mark against the Celtics. The Cavaliers are always plays low-scoring defensive battles. This total is far too high for both of these teams fighting for a mid-standings place in the Eastern Conference. Take the under on Friday. Next we have New York Knicks versus Milwaukee Bucks. This Friday night clash between the Bucks and the Knicks is undoubtedly one of the standout matchups. Odds makers have positioned Milwaukee as a favorite by more than 2 possessions, and I'm inclined to bet on the Bucks in this scenario. One of the primary reasons for my decision to go against the Knicks is the uncertainties regarding R.J. Barrett's injury. Barrett serves as their primary scorer, and his availability is in question due to a knee injury. Even if he does play, it's likely to be in a limited capacity. On the other hand, the Bucks boast an exceptionally talented roster, and they should have no trouble scoring against the formidable Knicks defense. Milwaukee currently ranks 7th in offensive efficiency, averaging 111.7 points per 100 possessions, while the Knicks find themselves at the bottom with just 100.6. Considering Barrett's questionable status, I believe Milwaukee has a good chance of establishing a lead and covering the spread. The total here is interesting considering these two teams are on opposite spectrums when it comes to game plans. It seems like the Bucks enjoy higher-paced games while the Knicks are fine playing tough defense and turning each game into a rock fight. Something has to give in Milwaukee, and I'll say the Bucks find their groove at home. I'm going to play the over in this spot. The one comparable game we've seen New York play this season was their road contest against the Hawks, another team that loves to run and gun. That game ended 126-120 and was an absolute barn burner. I think the Bucks established themselves offensively and put up north of 120 points in this spot. As for New York, regardless of Barrett's status, they should manage some success against a Milwaukee club that's dead last in defensive efficiency, 118.2 points allowed per 100 possessions. Let's ride with the over on Friday night. Next we have Wizards versus Miami Heat. Even though Miami is going through a challenging phase, underestimating them would be a mistake. They currently hold the 7th position in the league, primarily due to their impressive three-point shooting percentage of 37.6%. Their offensive prowess, led by point guard Tyler Herro, who averages 26.2 points per game, makes them a formidable scoring force. On the flip side, the Wizards have struggled on the defensive end, ranking last in the NBA by allowing an average of 126.3 points per game. This defensive weakness may provide the Heat with an opportunity to exploit their advantage in the paint. It's worth noting that the Heat's actual strength exceeds their 1-4 win-loss record. Consider taking the Heat with a minus 9.5 point spread. In examining the offensive dynamics of the two teams, it appears to be a high-scoring game. Considering small forward Kyle Kuzma's 49.4 field goal percentage, the Wizards have been scoring 115 points per night. On the other hand, the Heat have Herro shooting 44.1% from the field to lead all scorers. Based on the prior meetings and the current form for some of the leading lights from both sides, this match is bound to rain points, thus pointing at the over. Next we have Golden State Warriors versus Oklahoma City Thunder. In the initial week and a bit of the season, both teams have demonstrated moderate offensive performance. Golden State is currently working on establishing the right roles for players such as Paul and Sarek, all while considering the fact that the Splash Brothers are aging another year. On the other hand, Oklahoma City possesses a roster brimming with young talent but lacks a seasoned veteran to provide leadership during critical moments. The Thunder faced a significant setback on Wednesday night when they let a substantial lead slip away against New Orleans and now face the challenge of regrouping against one of the most experienced teams in the league. Golden State has been playing resilient basketball with a 4-game winning streak, and their advantage in terms of experience should be sufficient to guide them to victory, extending their winning streak to 5 games. Next we have Brooklyn Nets versus Chicago Bulls. As Chicago heads back to their home court to face the Nets, I believe this is a situation where the Bulls are likely to cover the 3-point spread. Chicago put on a strong performance against the Dallas Mavericks in their most recent game, showcasing solid defense until the fourth quarter. In contrast, the Brooklyn Nets have been struggling offensively, and they now have to contend with a formidable defensive squad in the Bulls. Despite the Nets' impressive 4-0 record against the spread this season, they are currently dealing with significant injuries, and facing a Bulls team that is starting to find its offensive rhythm on the road is no easy task. I recommend taking Chicago to cover the spread in this matchup. Along with the Bulls to cover, take the under 225.5 points in this matchup. Brooklyn has struggled mightily this season on offense, while Chicago has a solid defense which should help the under cash. Meanwhile, the Bulls are playing at a pace of 99.7, which ranks 29th in the NBA, while the Nets play at a pace of 103.6, which ranks 10th. The Bulls are also 3-2 in hitting the under. Take the under. Next we have Memphis Grizzlies versus Portland Trail Blazers. It's a bit surprising that the Grizzlies are favored on the road despite not having secured a win yet. The absence of key players like Ja Morant, Steven Adams for the entire season, and Derrick Rose for a few more weeks is a significant factor. Moreover, their backup power forward, Sandy Aldama, recently missed a game due to an ankle injury, and his availability for Friday night remains uncertain. This accumulation of absentees puts a considerable strain on the team, especially as they are still adapting to their new point guard. On the other hand, the Trail Blazers may be without their rookie point guard, Scoot Henderson, who was forced to exit Wednesday's game due to an ankle injury. Interestingly, Henderson's absence might actually benefit Portland, particularly in the early stages of the game, as he has appeared overwhelmed as a starter on occasion. Malcolm Brogdon, a reliable backup, can fill in. In general, Portland currently boasts a deeper roster. I recommend considering the Trail Blazers with the points in this matchup. We have a pair of poor offenses who have struggled shooting the ball this season. Combined, these two are averaging just 209.6 points per game on the year. The under went 3-0 when these two met last season and 7-3 in the last 10. Portland does not have a true scorer, and though Sharp has emerged as a viable offensive weapon, not much else is behind him. 3 times this season they have scored 99 points or less. Memphis has a high water mark of 110 points scored in a game this season, then 3 of 106 or less. They too do not have a top-level scorer in the face of Morant's suspension. The Grizzlies are ranked 5th in pace, per dunksandthrees.com, but their failure to hit shots has nullified things on that front. The Blazers are 21st in pace and 24th in offensive rating. Take the under.